Okay. I want to ask you guys a question. This is how we starting off this week. Stay with me. It's going to get good, I promise. Have you ever looked back at your life or over your life and you're trying to figure out where the shift actually happened? I attribute a lot of things at this point in my life to my day of redemption. That's what I call it. January 29, 2024. That day was the day I said, okay, God, I'm done running. What you want me to do? So that day mattered, right? But if we're being all the way real, that was absolutely not the beginning. That was just the reset. That was the reintroduction, the rededication. But the real shift, the origin, came when I said yes again. Not the yes that I gave years ago when I had the titles, when I had the respectability, when I had the quote-unquote clean reputation. Nah, not that yes. This yes right here, it was a scared, side-eyeing God kind of yes. It was a yes that came after nights of crying, nights of asking, are you really asking me to do this again? With this story? You want me to do this again? And that was when Sacred Unfiltered was born. And what's wild is that God had been nudging me about this for years. I literally can recall one specific day, I'm listening to the radio, which was odd because I don't listen to the radio. And as I'm listening, clear as day, I heard, do it again. And I'm like, what? Do what again? What are you talking about? Listening to the radio, the lady is talking, and I hear him again. Do it again. Now, I ain't crazy. I knew exactly what I heard, and I knew exactly what it was in reference to because it aligned in my spirit. But I'm just like, nah, I ain't doing that. Not me. Not after everything. I have laid that part of me down. I buried it. I'm done with microphones. I'm done with ministry. I'm done. But that day, something shifted. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I kept imagining what it would sound like to be honest out loud again, without filters, without fixing my voice to sound churchy, without hiding behind the perfection. But saying yes scared me more than saying no ever did. But something still inside was telling me to just do it scared. Do it scared. So let me start right. Let me introduce you. Let me welcome you back. Welcome to Sacred Unfiltered, the podcast for God's favorite rebels, the ones who love Jesus but still a little hood, the ones who cuss a lot but pray a lot more, the ones that are learning to live holy without pretending to be perfect. Hi, I'm Genesis, the Rebel PK, and this space was created for those of us who have scars, those of us who have baggage, those of us who have questions, and truth be told, that's everybody, right? Everybody got scars, everybody got baggage, everybody got questions. But what makes us different is even with all of those things, we still show up for God anyway. Unfiltered, unashamed, being ourselves unapologetically. So, if you've crossed over us for the very first time, listen, do me a favor. Like, share it with somebody, follow it, subscribe, leave a rating, leave a comment, do all the things. And I want to invite you to come back next week. Same time, same place. Thursdays, 2:13 p.m. on whatever your favorite podcast streaming platform is. All right, let's get into it. Ask yourself this. When was the last time I actually said yes? Not to your job, not to your family, not to the version of you that the world expects to see, but yes to the thing, whatever the thing is that God has been tugging on you about. That scary thing. That I'll do it later on in life God thing. That, but who am I to do that kind of thing? Because that was mine. Who are me? Me? You want me to do who? And who the hell am I to be doing this type of work? Are you crazy? So I know what it feels like to avoid the assignment. I know what it feels like to sit on the edge of purpose and choose to shrink yourself, because saying yes doesn't just expose your obedience. Saying yes exposes your insecurities too. It puts all your shit on Front Street. You cannot hide behind anything anymore. So you start wondering. What if they don't receive me? What if I am not really ready for what you're calling me to do? But I'm telling you right now that your yes matters so much more than your fears. So I want to pause. Like, literally press pause if you need to. I want you to name the thing that God has been asking you to do. Say it out loud. God, I know you've been asking me to blah, 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 whatever it is. And so now I want you to ask yourself, what's standing between me and that yes? Is it fear? Is it shame? Is it validation? Is it comfort? But what if your surrender isn't about being fearless? What if it's about being faithful, even in the face of fear? Because it can be scary. I didn't start this podcast because I felt like I was holy enough, ready enough to speak. I started it because I could not keep ignoring the pull. I could not keep pretending that I was being quote unquote obedient just because I was back praying like I should, and I was back reading my word like I should, and investing in my spirit man like I should. So me doing those things became a hiding place instead of me walking in purpose. I'm praying for clarity. Whole time, God already gave me instructions, so I was stalling. But eventually, you get tired of disobeying God in the name of preparation. Right? So, okay, boom. This is my church kid confession. I did not grow up learning how to be honest. Yikes. Ouch. Yeah. I didn't grow up learning how to be honest. I grew up learning how to be presentable. That's how I grew up. And the thing is, here's the thing. Church didn't intentionally teach shame. That's not what they were intentionally setting out to do. Okay? But it was wrapped up in so much holiness, quote unquote, talk that it comes off like if you're not polished, if you're not ready, if you don't look a certain way, if you don't sound a certain way, if you don't act a certain way, that you're not called. You ever felt like that? I felt like that. Like God can only use the cleaned up version of me. And if I am not cleaned up, if I am not polished, if I don't look a certain way, if I don't sound a certain way, I cannot be used. I cannot. I gotta sit in the back until I get myself together. And how many times have we heard that? So I'll be real with y'all. Part of the reason that I did not say yes sooner was because of church hurt. And I know people like to say there's no such thing as church hurt, and they try to compare it to like, well, if you go to work and it's people there at work that you don't like, and they might treat you a certain way, but you still show up anyway. I hate that comparison. I hate that analogy. And I feel like it really invalidates people's experience. It is church hurt because you got hurt in the church. You did. And I hate that people try to make it seem like where you got hurt at, you should continue to stay and continue to be hurt. So if that's where I experienced my hurt, that's where I experienced it. So yes, church hurt. That is part of the reason why I did not say yes sooner. The voices in my head were so much louder than God's. People that I once looked up to made me feel like my story disqualified me from serving God, from being in ministry. So I had to choose between being my authentic self or serving in ministry. So I chose silence for a long time. Don't ask me to do shit. I'm not coming to church. I ain't singing in nobody's church. I'm not serving in any capacity at nobody's church. And if I go to church, I'm going to get there late and I'm leaving early. That was me. That was my stance for a couple years. But the reality is God's call over my life isn't revoked just because church people misunderstood the method. Let me say this. Some of y'all are waiting for a church to validate your voice. And let me tell you this. Heaven already did. Heaven already did. You looking for a validation that you already got. A stamp of approval that you already have. Let's go to the word. Again, if this is your first time here, I don't have much to offer you outside of the word of God. We're going to pick up that Bible every time you tune in to Sacred and Unfiltered. And the reason why is because I want to give you things that would allow you all to go and do your own searching, do your own digging, do your own researching, do your own studying. I'm giving you these scriptures. Now you go and read them and study them and ask God for revelation and how it applies to your life. Okay? So I got an example, right? Isaiah 6:8. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" And I said, "Here I am, send me." Now, Isaiah did not shout this from the mountaintop. He had just been wrecked in the presence of God. I mean, wrecked. God convicted him. He is undone. He is exposed. But his response was still yes. See how you don't need to be polished to be ready? What you need to be is postured. What you need to be is willing. You don't believe me? Another example. Luke 1:38. Our good sis Mary, the virgin. She hears the most wild prophecy of her entire life. The wildest thing ever to come across her ear gates. And that is that she's going to carry the Son of God. Her response was, "I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled." She didn't ask for details. She didn't say, "Let me pray on it." She didn't say, "But what will people think?" Because, baby, I would have been asking questions. What do you mean? What do you mean I am a virgin and I'm not married? And you want me to be pregnant? You want me to get pregnant? You're going to impregnate. I'm going to carry a baby? Them people is going to talk trash about me. Actually, no. Find somebody else. Get somebody else to do it. But what she did was give God access. Period. Another example. Jeremiah 1:4-8. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I'm too young. And the Lord said, do not say to me that I'm too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Sometimes our biggest delays come from what we say about ourselves. I'm too messy. I'm too late. I'm not ready. But God already factored in your insecurities before he gave you the assignment. He knew that Jeremiah was going to be unsure. He still called them. Just like he knew that you would have doubts, he still anointed you. Romans 11:29, for the gifts and calling of God are irrevocable. So if God gave you a voice, if God gave you a story, if God gave you a burden, if God gave you a calling, he didn't change his mind because of your experiences and your decisions. He did not change his mind about you. Even if you changed your mind about you. So that yes that's been sitting in your gut is still on the table. And he's still waiting. So let me help you right here. Let me say this to you. You don't need another damn prophecy. You don't need another Instagram word. You don't need another piece of confirmation. You don't need to go on another 21-day fast just to avoid doing the thing that you know God already told you to do. Obedience is not procrastination. You are not waiting on God. God is actually waiting on you. Yeah. Let me bust you upside your head real quick. You're not waiting on God to do nothing. God is waiting on you. But here's the grace. Here's the grace. God is not looking for a polished performance, ladies and gentlemen. He's looking for a yes. And that one yes can change your whole life. That one yes can unlock somebody else's healing. That one yes can break a generational curse that you didn't even know you were carrying. So stop playing scared. Stop playing scared. Stop negotiating with the assignment. And stop thinking that you need to be anybody other than who you are. Because that's who God called. He wants you. The unfiltered you. This is this week's affirmation. My faith journey may be messy, but it's mine. Redemption cracked me open, but it was my yes that lit the match. I'm not perfect, but I'm positioned. I'm postured. I may feel like I'm not ready, but I'm willing. And that right there is enough for God to move. So this week, I want you to sit with this. What is God asking me to say yes to? And not a theoretical yes, a practical one. Is it a book, a conversation, a boundary, a business? Hell, maybe it's a podcast of your own. Whatever it is, I want you to write him a yes letter. It don't have to be deep. It don't got to be perfect. It just needs to be honest. And I want you to talk to him like you would talk to your homegirl, like you would talk to me, like I'm talking to y'all. God, this is scary. This scares me. I don't feel ready. But here I am anyway. So use me as you will. And that one moment of surrender could be the beginning of everything for you, because it was the beginning of everything for me. So God, for the ones that are listening right now, the ones that have been wrestling with surrender, the ones that have been silencing their stories, those who are doubting their worth, I pray a boldness over them, a holy trembling yes, a willingness to be used even while they are still figuring it out. Remind them that you didn't wait until they were perfect to call them. You called them as they were, as they are. And you will walk with them every step of the way. Let their obedience unlock healing and freedom for them. Let their voice echo freedom. Let their yes shake the gates of hell. In Jesus' name, amen. Listen, this podcast did not begin because I had something to prove. I don't have anything to prove. But it began because I had something that I could no longer keep to myself. It started with my yes. Terrified, uncertain, but okay, God, I'll speak again. Yes. And every single episode is a continuation of that obedience. So whether your yes is loud or quiet, whether it's strong or there's a shaking in your voice like there was with my yes, I hope that you give it. Because God does not need you to be perfect. He just needs you to participate. Until next time, stay sacred, stay unfiltered.